Retail workers of Reddit, what's your Black Friday horror story? I worked for a golf superstore as a cashier. Black Friday customers come rushing in and the line starts. I proceed to scan the first item and nothing. The registers are completely down and the lines are growing fast. The only thing we could do is take every transaction manually. Write down SKUs, calculate tax, and use the old credit card swipers for 3 hours. I never worked retail during Black Friday again. Worked at a store that had a service department. They couldn't ring up anything at the service counter, but they had a computer which made it look like a register. Guy is standing there patiently waiting to be rung up. Finally somebody notices him and asks what he needs. I'd like to pay. He says. I'm sorry, this isn't a register, replies the service tech. The guy then proceeds to try and convince the service tech to let him pay because the line for the main registers is 3 hours long. Of course the service tech couldn't because he didn't have a register. He just had a computer for making appointments and such. So after 15 minutes of argument the guy moves off to find the line. Here's the fun part. While he was arguing, somebody else saw him standing by something that looked like a register and so got in line behind him. Then people saw the shorter line and got in behind them. With nobody to control it, the line to nowhere grew quickly. 15 minutes was all it took for the not line to snake all the way around the department. So when the doofus who started this whole fiasco went to find the right line, he found the end of the line he had started. Then the guy behind him heard that there wasn't a register, so he followed the first guy. Then the next customer followed the second and so on. They walked around in a circle for an hour before somebody noticed them. We almost had a riot when a manager had to tell 100 people that they weren't in line and had just waited an hour for nothing. That same year we had several scuffles at points where the register line had forked into 2 lines. From then on we marked off a huge register path and had several employees just manage the line. Towhee customer who took a crap in one of my fitting rooms and then wiped his butt with a $125 Polo Ralph Lauren Zayhurt. Nothing more needs to be said. Store is absolutely packed, and a larger, trailer trash looking woman gets up to the register with 4 coffee machines, about 30 different pieces of clothing, clearly none of which would fit her, a set of pots and pans, and a blender. I'm at the register serving a line of, at this point, probably 20 people. She gets to my register, and I ring everything up. Total comes out to about $200, because most of the crap she's getting is cheap crap that we sell even cheaper on Black Friday. Of course, as soon as I tell her the total, I'm wrong. So is the register, apparently. You double scan most of it. It should be half that price. Hell no, I didn't, lady. Learn to count. I wish I could say that to her, but my manager is literally right behind me on the other register, and would chew me out like no tomorrow. So, in my nicest, most sarcastic, tone of voice, I reply. I don't believe I did, you can even see it right here on the register. If you really want me to, I can start over to make sure nothing scanned more than once, though. Of course, she ignores the whole damn thing and just tries to pay. She's clearly not been to the store before, because our old as F register system requires us to take your card and swipe it ourselves. She spends a few seconds looking around for where she can scan her card, and I chime in, we have to scan it up here, ma'am. System is too old for us to have something where you scan the card. I'm so sorry about that. She's already pissed enough and trying to fight with me about her scanning it herself. Finally, after spitting in my face for a few seconds while I'm forced to smile like the brain-dead monkey corporate thinks I am, she hands me the damned card. I check the name because legally we have to, and we have to see ID as well. Well, I see the card and immediately expect a crap show because the first name on it is David. She hands me her ID, and lo and behold, her name ain't David. I'm sorry ma'am, I can't legally charge this card. Unless David is with you, in which case I'd need to see his ID. Are you kidding me? This is my son's card. He's letting me use IT. He's at home with my husband. F me, as if this crap wasn't bad enough already. I'm sorry, I can't swipe this card unless it's yours. Do you have a different card on you with your name on it? After grumbling for a bit, MC Face hands over a different card. Go through the normal motions, card declined. How can this get any worse? Your card was declined, ma'am. Cue me getting screamed at in front of an ever-growing, impatient live audience. Let me talk to your manager. At this point, I can only pray that hell itself will swallow this demon up, or at least end me so I don't have to deal with it. My manager turns around from her register, says just a moment, ma'am, I'm finishing up this transaction, then I'll be right with you. Of course, this little old lady ain't got the time for that. At this point, I'm pretty sure my line at the register should be paying me for the entertainment they get out of this lady unloading all of her crap on me. My manager finally turns around and has me switch to her register for the time being, while she handles the crazy. I manage to get a few people through the register while I hear screaming coming from both sides, as my manager isn't great with being yelled at. How the F did anyone think that was a good idea? I get a few comments and looks from customers basically saying I'm so sorry. We're not all terrible. Finally, I hear MC Face over there yell that she'll put all her crap back and go shop somewhere else. Thank F. Turns out that's not what she did. Instead, she ended up going to the exit on the other side of our department and trying to walk out with everything in the cart. My manager sees this and calls LP, and so does the cashier on the register down there. LP sends some of their guys over to her, and they try and stop her after calling the police. Now, I didn't get to leave the register because we were packed, but I was told she tried to fight a few of the people from LP before the cops got there. Ended up with her getting arrested. The rest of my day sucked anyway, but that made it a bit better. I am not an employee, but I stood behind a lady at Target who was returning a newly bought iPad. She was livid because her iPad wasn't charging. She claimed that the tablet had Wi-Fi connection to the store and it wasn't charging like it was supposed to. She was told that the cord came with it was the only way to charge it. She balked at the statement and adamantly said that since it's hooked up to Target's free Wi-Fi it should be charging. Sadly, this is not the case and left spot not obscenities. Sad to think she thought Wi-Fi charged her iPad. About 15 years ago, I was working at a bookstore in a mall. Somehow, around 5 p.m. maybe, I found myself the only employee in the entire store, not a single coworker to be found, and we were slammed with customers. We usually had music playing in the store, controlled by an ordinary 5 CD stereo in the back office, and of course this is the day the inoffensive holiday music gets brought into circulation. Around the time I found myself alone, I noticed the stereo had become stuck on repeat, just playing the same song over and over. It was at least an hour before I was able to get away from the counter, and so that was the day I was forced to listen to some kind of generic, a very jazzy Jingle Bells some 30 times back to back. I worked at a grocery store in high school. Black Friday was my favorite day all year. Hardly anyone goes food shopping the day after Thanksgiving. Just today I sold a couch to a guy who drove a Prius with no roof rack. We do not deliver and he wouldn't leave until we found a way to get this thing secured to his car somehow. Not only had he clearly not planned ahead or thought it through, he was a total jerk about it and insisted on making it our problem. We ended up using half a spool of twine to tie this thing down and he had to climb in through the window because the twine went through his doors. I really wish I had taken a picture. At one point he complained to our GM, who had no idea what we were supposed to have done to appease this moron. Finally, we insisted that he sign a waiver before leaving because we were not about to be held responsible for his own stupidity. Of course, this was also during the busiest part of the day. I don't mind helping load or tie down for customers, but this guy took the cake. Worked greets at American Eagle today. My job was to stand at the front and tell you what the sale was. Some lady walked in with like 8 bags and the alarm went off. So I smiled and said that it went off most likely because there's possibly still a tag on one of her items. This was her response: "I just walked in and you're already accusing me of stealing?" And then stormed off. Nothing special honestly, just another day of retail. Yeah. Small Canadian town life. When I worked at Best Buy I watched 2 elderly ladies get in a fist fight over a Nintendo DS. That and the cleaning the aftermath of Black Friday. Looked like a grocery store before a hurricane.